Have you ever wondered what SQL injection is and what it can do? Well, let's delve into this intriguing concept. SQL injection, in its simplest form, is a code injection technique. Think of it as a malicious trick where attackers cunningly insert harmful SQL code into a query. But why, you might ask? The answer lies in their end game to interact with the database in ways that the original developers never intended. This could range from bypassing logins, akin to a master key unlocking all doors, to retrieving sensitive information, much like finding a treasure chest in an endless sea of data. It's a sneaky and potentially devastating technique, transforming a simple query into a weapon of data destruction. Just imagine the havoc that could be wreaked if such a power fell into the wrong hands. That's why understanding SQL injection is the first step to preventing it. So are you ready to get started on this journey of understanding and prevention? Now, you might ask, how does SQL injection work? Well, the process begins when a cyber attacker spots a vulnerable input field within a web application. This could be any text box or entry field that interacts with the database, such as a login or a search bar. Next, the attacker will attempt to manipulate the SQL queries that the application sends to its database. They do this by inputting malicious SQL code into the vulnerable field. This could be something as simple as a single quote or as complex as an entire command. The essence of the attack lies in the fact that the application is not differentiating between the original SQL command and the additional malicious SQL statement. It's as though the attacker is whispering extra instructions into the ear of an unsuspecting messenger, who then dutifully delivers these instructions to the king, in this case, the database. Once the malicious SQL statement is injected, it is sent along with the original query to the database server. The server, trusting the application, assumes that the entire query, including the injected SQL, is legitimate and executes it. This could result in various unauthorized behaviors. For example, the attacker could manipulate the query to reveal sensitive data that they shouldn't have access to. Imagine if a search bar, meant to display product details, suddenly starts spilling out user passwords or credit card information. Alternatively, the attacker could modify or delete data in the database. This could be as subtle as changing a single record or as destructive as wiping out entire tables. They might even gain administrative rights, essentially taking control of the entire system. The key point to understand here is that the SQL injection technique relies on the trust between the application and the database. By exploiting this trust, attackers can manipulate the database to perform actions far beyond its intended operations. In a nutshell, that's how SQL injection works. It tricks the database into executing unintended commands. So, what can SQL injection do? Well, the potential damage is quite staggering. It's like a digital sledgehammer that can wreak havoc on an unprepared system. Firstly, SQL injection can lead to data theft. Private customer details, sensitive corporate information, you name it. In the hands of a skilled hacker, SQL injection can be a tool for grand-scale espionage. Secondly, it can cause data loss. Imagine spending years accumulating valuable data, only to have it wiped out in an instant. That's the destructive power of SQL injection. Thirdly, it can grant unauthorized access to systems. This could mean a hacker gaining control over your entire digital infrastructure. And in extreme cases, it can lead to complete system compromise. In other words, the complete takeover of your system, allowing the attacker to do whatever they please. SQL injection is one of the most dangerous web application vulnerabilities. It's not to be taken lightly. SQL injection isn't just a minor inconvenience, it can cause serious damage. Now that we know what SQL injection is and what it can do, how can we prevent it? To shield your system from SQL injection, consider the following tips. First, validate user input. Ensure data is of the right type, length, and format before it's processed. This prevents malicious code from slipping through. Next, make use of parameterized queries. They ensure that user input is treated solely as data, not part of the SQL command. Stored procedures, another useful tool, separate code from data, thus reducing the possibility of an attack. Then, there's the least privilege principle. Grant only the necessary permissions to users. This restricts the potential damage if an attack does occur. Remember, the digital landscape is ever evolving. Regular security audits are vital to identify potential vulnerabilities. Keep your software updated to patch any security holes. Prevention is the best defense against SQL injection. Stay informed, stay updated, and stay safe.